Yo, what up, Rival Gang, and those in the YouTube space that have found this video, welcome to the channel. As y'all can tell by the thumbnail, this is pretty much me going over some community concepts of Cyclops. Cyclops is one of my favorite characters that I can't wait to come into Marvel Rivals. I'm sure a lot of people, well, obviously a lot of people have been waiting on Cyclops, right? Um, to be honest, once Cyclops hits the game, I don't know who else I would be excited for. Don't get me wrong, there are people like Scorpion, Prowler, Vulture, Colossus. I mean, there's so many characters we can name, but as of right now, I think Cyclops is probably where I don't know. Like I said, my enjoyment of waiting on characters will probably kind of come to an end. Other than Colossus, because I can't wait to have Colossus as a tank. But moving forward, and I will give credit to people who have made these concepts in the actual video when I edit it, so y'all will be able to see that. But yeah, to go ahead and start off with this Cyclops, which is my favorite. So this one is going to be a duelist based on what I can understand. They didn't necessarily put it here, but from what I see, he's going to be a duelist. I'll start off with his ultimate to make more sense of what this kit does. So with that being said, Scott removes his visor, and it's called visor off. Scott removes his visor to unleash an initial optic devastation, followed by a short duration where his abilities are unfiltered versions with no cooldown. He pushes past his limits, ignoring mental fatigue. Now, I guess this is where the resource system comes in, as y'all can see at the bottom right here, where it says Cyclops builds mental fatigue from every offensive action using his visor. When Scott's mental fatigue meter is full, all optic attacks are locked out temporarily, except his primary, and he does less damage while on cooldown. Now, again, it's a concept, y'all, so we just kind of have to, you know, obviously take this as it is and just, give credit where credit is due. People are just trying to give us an insight of maybe what Cyclops abilities would be. So moving to the primary, which is the left click, right? Taps to fire precise shot, slightly fills his mental fatigue meter with each use. Unfiltered version greatly increases damage and gives knockback. Honestly, I don't think that that's bad. And just to put on the name, he named it Optic Burst slash Raw Burst, I guess, when it's the unfiltered version. So I don't think that's bad because I can definitely see Cyclops having knockback. I mean, we all know, well, if you know anything about Cyclops from his lasers, it's from another dimension where it shoots kinetic energy. So all it is just pretty much an unstoppable force dang there, right? So I can definitely see the knockback. Now, the next one, which is also apparently his, well, they have it listed as his left click as well, but it says optic displacement, a directional concussive blast that pushes Scott backwards while applying knockback to an enemy in front of him. The unfiltered version, you release a stronger continuous beam that applies great damage and knockback. So again, I'm not upset at that. That more than likely was supposed to be his right click. Well, I'll take that back because then they have Cyclone Kick, but we'll get into that. So maybe there's different versions you can switch between some kind of way. I don't know. They didn't really state it here, but that's not a bad version as well because I can see that being a thing, right? Of course, being a duelist, you want your duelist to be a little bit mobile as possible or mobile as possible, right? Team up abilities, not really much here other than the fact of when you get to Phoenix 5, it says Scott bonds with the Phoenix Force, granting him 100 plus overshield when he has 1 HP left. Honestly, I don't think that's bad. I think that's pretty clutch if you have him and obviously Phoenix together. All right, so we already went over the ultimate. Here we have the shift, optic sweep. A low angled horizon beam sweep that tracks and applies knockback. The longer it's held, the higher the cost of his mental fatigue meter. Unfiltered version temporarily leaves a scorched zone of damage. Now, as far as Scott as a character, I don't know if he'll be able to like leave scorched, but I see where they were coming from. If anything, I can definitely see this being something that is like an AoE knockback, like in a circle or something, if he does like a quick spin or something like that. But, I see what they were trying to do there. Now, here we go. Ricochet shots. Now, I think this is going to be hopefully one of the biggest things that this man gets in his kit because I would love for him to have ricochet shots, kind of like obviously Moon Knight. But anyway, channel a ricochet beam that bounces up to 2 times, does more damage the longer it charges or the more it bounces. Ricochet rapidly fills the mental fatigue meter. The longer it's held, unfiltered can bounce up to 6 times. Now, this is where I love this concept of ricochet because I can really see that being one of his abilities, honestly. Depending on how they go, I think that'll be really cool. Because, like they say, if he has some sort of resource system to where we all know the more Cyclops uses his beams, the more tired he gets and things of that nature, which is why we have this mental fatigue built into this. Anyway, moving forward, rapid punch. Of course, this is just a melee, couple punches, knee punches, cool. Space, which is called optic leap. Cyclops fires a beam directly below him after jumping, propelling him into the air and damaging any enemy below him. The longer it's held, the higher he'll go at the cost of the mental fatigue meter. The unfiltered version knocks back all enemies in all directions. So I can see this as well. I can see him having something that can propel him in the air. Um, Again, if y'all seen X-Men, Laura X-Men 97, y'all know that Scott was moving. We've never seen Cyclops move like that before. And I think that really showed us, from an animated perspective at least, that Scott got some movement, man, and man got some mobility. He know how to use those lasers to get around. So I think that's pretty cool. As far as the cyclone kick right here, it says a fast two-hit spinning kick that applies knockback to all enemies. So it seems like from this, they really want to put a lot of emphasis on ricochet shots, knockback abilities, and just overall basically just being able to have AoE and hit multiple enemies at one time. So with that being said, I think this is a great concept. We're going to go ahead and move to the next one. All right, so I wouldn't say this is my second favorite. It probably is, but I'm going to start with this one. Now, as y'all can clearly see on this one, they took a different approach 100%. This one is Cyclops if he's a Vanguard. Now, do I think Cyclops will be a Vanguard? I'm going to be honest. I don't think so, and I hope not. I hope this man is a duelist through and through. Unless they pull kind of a Deadpool move or something, which I highly doubt, I really hope this man is a duelist. But anyway, moving forward, this one doesn't have a resource or anything like that system that they put on them, but it's going to his abilities. So we have Optic Blast, fire a concussive beam from your visors. Enemies take increased damage the longer they're being hit. I think that's a great move or a great setup. Now, they don't say it this way, but that would be pretty cool. The more that you get hit by his beams back to back, that would be cool if like there was maybe like a marker system, kind of like Phoenix, to where you take more damage, right? I think that would be pretty cool. Now his right click, strategic, mastermind, when held, change the size and damage output of your optic blast from a high damage pinpoint beam to a wide lower damage blast. So I think they're giving him an ability to swap between two different kind of like stance types, but laser types. That's what I'm getting from this. Let's see. It says its passive would be shooting in the same direction for a prolonged time, pushes Cyclops in the opposite direction, and exponential speed until you start firing. Then we have the team up, Lover's Quarrel. Cyclops gets 100 HP. I think that's gonna be obviously that's not gonna happen. But if Cyclops shoots, oh well, I forgot this is a Vanguard, so sorry, maybe it might happen. If Cyclops shoots at Emma Frost in her Diamond form or Jean Grey in her Phoenix form, they can double the damage and redirect the optic blast. So I don't know. This is kind of like a play on Ricochet a little bit, but they just put that in there, just because. Visors off. I want this thing off my lawn. Obviously, that is the same that he said in the show. With that being said, Cyclops takes off his visors while stationary, continually shoots out gigantic optic blasts, damaging and pushing away enemies. Frontier leaders shoot a wide beam that pushes away enemies and slows down enemy projectiles while giving him and allies behind him bonus health. That would be his shift. And then here we have another ricochet shot. So y'all are kind of starting to see the pattern of this ricochet shot. When clicked, the trajectory of a single laser shot will be displaced. Then left click to shoot. It bounces off walls and pierces enemy. It inflicts extra damage for every pierce or bounce. So again, that multiplier building up with how many times it bounces and things like that. Again, I think that's really cool. As y'all can see, there's a pattern going on with that. And again, we have his I guess this would be his, but it says it's F. To me, my X-Men Cyclops rallies all enemies nearby, giving them and himself a movement and damage boost. Now I can definitely see that as well, because we all know he's the leader of the X-Men in many cases. So yeah. Again, pretty solid. Like I said, I don't think I would want to see him as a Vanguard. Y'all see they gave some skin options right here as well, just to throw that in there. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's not a Vanguard. Hopefully he is more so um a duelist. And yeah, so that being said, let's move on to the next one. All right, so here we have kind of a more basic one. It's not too fancy and flashy, with everything here, but I still think it's pretty solid, right? So let's get right into it. So we have optic blast. Fire a single optic blast, holds the charge up to 3 seconds for additional damage, will push Cyclops back the stronger the charge. Then we have the team up abilities. They did one with Magneto where it says we were right. Cyclops shares his tactical knowledge, allowing Magneto's attack to benefit from the damage bonus granted by vulnerability. Ricochet shot will now apply vulnerability. Here we go with that ricochet shot. Y'all see it again. So it says visor off. I don't know why everybody's picking visor off. I mean, could there be another cooler phrase? But either way, charge and unleash a massive blast of concussive energy. All enemies caught in the blast take damage and are hurtled backwards, which again, not bad. Taking additional damage if they collide with a wall or object. Okay, can definitely understand that one as far as the collision. Here we have the shift ability, rally team, inspired nearby teammates, delaying 50% of incoming damage for 8 seconds, dealing it out slowly over duration of the ability unless healed. The more damage absorbed, the faster your movement will increase. Now, I'm not a fan of that one, but I see what they're trying to do there. Here we go again, ricochet shot. A shot that bounces between multiple enemies and off walls and surfaces does less damage with each bounce. So again, I'm not mad at it. I'm really hoping that this ricochet shot is something that they actually put into his kit because this sounds cool. This sounds like another, not necessarily Moon Knight, but you get what I'm saying? Like it's like a knockback Moon Knight essentially. And I think that's very critical because that could interrupt abilities. I can really see so much potential with that. Here we have F, which is shotgun blast. There's a quick point blank AoE blast, dealing damage and applying vulnerability to any enemy's hit. Vulnerable enemies take 15% more damage from your optic blast and abilities. Again, not a bad concept because if we want to bring vulnerability into damage abilities, then who better to do it than probably, Cyclops as far as, again, his kinetic damage abilities, right? So again, if that's a route that they want to go, I know we just got Charm with White Fox. This could be something that's brought in with Cyclops. And then we have defense screen targets and blast down all incoming projectiles. So that honestly seems pretty strong, especially if that works on ultimates because Iron Man, Magneto, those are few characters that come to mind. I mean, that won't stand a chance if it works on abilities. And honestly, I really just don't see how that would work with a character like Cyclops because it just seems like he should just be, laser, move around. I don't really see him being like anything defensive whatsoever, in my opinion. Again, unless they go some sort of Vanguard route, which I really hope they do not. But with that being said, let's move on to the final one. All right, so we have the final one here, which let's just start off again with the ultimate optic devastation. Gain bonus optic charge and empower all existing optic charge. Then unleash a massive concussive beam that slows down enemies and gives Cyclops bonus health on hit. So as we can see, most of these ultimates are really the same. We all probably can see obviously Cyclops doing some mega beam out his eyes and leading to some sort of overall buff potentially, right? Kind of like the first concept, which like I said, that was my favorite. But let's talk about this one. So optic blast, Cyclops fires concussive blast from his eyes, damaging and knocking back enemies. Again, something we commonly see. Then we have the right click optic beam. Cyclops fires a powerful continuous beam from his eyes, damaging enemies that are slow. Well, sorry, damaging enemies. I cannot read. Enemies hit are slowed. So this is going to be very similar to Iron Man. Do I think they would do this because it'll just be a copy of Iron Man, just minus it being a slow attached to it? I don't know. To some capacity, I can see it because we all know Cyclops does hold the beam and stuff. But like, again, these are all concepts we'll just have to see. With that being said, team up abilities, we have Mind's Eye. Phoenix gives Cyclops access to the Phoenix Force, allowing him to fire a blast which applies a second mark on an enemy, following optic blast ricochet to that enemy. So, okay, got the ricochet coming into that, but they would have to be marked through the Phoenix Force. We have Psychic Beacon, which is with Emma. Emma Frost can place another special psychic spear, allowing both her and Cyclops to damage it, in turn redirecting the damage to nearby enemies. So I think that'd be kind of cool. Going into the shift, we have Blast Dash. Cyclops fires a concussive blast, pushing him in desired direction. Obviously, that would be the momentum ability, which sorry. Well, I guess it would create some sort of momentum, but mobility off of using his attack to reposition himself, which I think would be great. I really hope that's something that you guys have put into his kit to a certain capacity, because literally this would be it. You shoot the beam, you slide left, right, you know what I mean? Dope. Up in the air, especially if it's omni, whatever, what do they call it these days? Omni, y'all know what I'm talking about. But omnidirectional, yeah. If it's omnidirectional, yo, that would be amazing. That would be super amazing. All right, the next one here we have, which is it's like the E. Cyclops, okay, hold the line. Cyclops puts his arms in front to block damage, reducing incoming damage and converting it into a bonus optic charge. When going past the maximum, it becomes empowered. Nah, not too fond of that, because again, it gives out the whole defense vibe. And then it says, to me, of course, to me, my X-Men, Cyclops calls out to his allies and marks himself. He gives bonus damage over time and an attack rate increase to himself and nearby allies. Now that could be pretty cool. Increasing the attack speed of your allies, that could be something different. I wouldn't be upset with that if that's something that they give him. But again, it gives off Vanguard type ability. So I just really hope that they focus more so on making him a duelist and kind of like a solo soldier, right? Obviously it's a team game target, but I'm getting that he needs to be able to go in there and handle his business, right? With that being said, looking at his passives, they have optic regulator. Most abilities use optic charge, which regenerates over time. If it reaches 0, Cyclops suffers a penalty delayed to its regeneration. Using empowered optic charge boosts his power. And then you have unbreakable focus. While optic charge is above 90% maximum, Cyclops is immune to stun effects. So again, a lot of these concepts are really great. I'm sure to a certain degree, all of these things are going to come together and in some form or fashion make it into his kit. I know it won't be everything. There's probably something that nobody has thought of, because I know these devs look at what people are doing and what they're hoping to see in a character, and they're probably like, hey, y'all think it's going to be this, but it's going to be that. Y'all think it's going to be that, but it's going to be this. So I'm just looking forward to the ricochet shot, because to me, I think that would be so dope to put into his kit. Again, him being able to move with the laser as well, potentially while damaging, or just, like I said, giving him some mobility, I think is going to be amazing, especially if it's omni-directional. So, yeah, so there y'all have it. These are some concepts that y'all can take into consideration as we wait for Season 8 to get here. I know that's a long ways from now, but that's just how excited I am for Cyclops. And I guess just to speak on the main things that you guys noticed that everything kind of had in common, right? Everybody gave him, it seems like, some sort of knockback. Everybody gave him some sort of ricochet system with his shots. And then on top of that, it seems like a lot of people have actually thought about some sort of resource system built into his kit. So who knows? I guess we'll have to find out and see. But I appreciate anybody that took the time to watch me even talk about this and go over this, because I think this is pretty cool, right? Things that are bringing the community together for us to talk about stuff like this. I mean, I love how people put their minds to work and even come up with this stuff. And I'm pretty sure there's probably some other great ideas out there. So with that being said, again, I love that you guys are showing me so much support and, coming to the channel to check me out. And yeah, y'all check out for my streams, because I do stream on YouTube, Marvel Rivals, obviously. So yeah, enough of me rambling. With that being said, much love to y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.